He's not talking.
Yeah.
How?
Based on the one you're in, so it's somebody along somewhere. So, right.
Wow, unbelievable. How's it going, Dan?
Very well. Thank you. How about out in Iowa? I think you probably look about the same as we do, which is great.
Yeah, we had some rough weather up in the far northeast part of the state last night.
Right between.
But for the most part, here in just north of Waterloo, Iowa, we might have missed the last couple of rains, but
sure,
things look great. Things look really good right now. So hopefully it'll keep up.
We really, right here in DeKalb County, northern DeKalb County, we never had, what you would say an overabundance of rain. You can go 20 miles north or south, and that has not been the case. But when it needed, they always came. Just the right amount. So yes, it's probably one of the best. Well, again, I guess everybody's talking about that here. We're looking at potential for record yields here.
Here's fun for
reason why that won't be the case.
Right. Boy, you guys in DeKalb County always living the good life there.
We're living the dream here. That's exactly right.
So, the volatility has come back to the grains. I'll just ask you just a very simple question. Is it good or bad at this time of the year that the volatility has come back into the grains?
Oh, I think good. I think volatility is good at any time. And I think at this point it probably is reflective of a market that's kind of sorting itself out. And not that we're necessarily quite there, but I guess I really believe we're in that final stretch. You usually get some pretty good volatility as you hunt for that ultimate low. Unfortunately, then you normally go stagnant. It's not like you turn around on a dime and you skyrocket out of here. But yeah, as you squeeze the last of the longs out of there, and in this case, I think we're also systematically pushing grain out of the farm level to make room for the new crop. So that's going to increase that volatility a little bit. But here again, I think that's really indicative of a market that's in that final give up stage. Everything's bearish. Markets always bear. They bottom when they're most bearish. They don't bottom because there's just some bullish news that really makes them skyrocket out of here. So.
Yep. When I'm looking for that bullish catalyst, I keep coming back to the idea that I don't know if there needs to be a fundamental change in the outlook for the market to get a rally if the funds just decide it's time to get out of those short positions. That's kind of my default attitude in corn right now, and I don't know if it's right or wrong.
Oh, I tend to be the same way. Now, granted, we did not really see, and they had no reason to scare out. Normally, May, June, you'll get some of that short covering by the funds. This year, that really wasn't the case. And of course, then after July 1st, piled on to get up to record short positions. But, here again, usually by the time you get up to September 1, they've had enough of it. They know that, we're at that seasonal time of the year where the supplies are never going to be bigger than they are today, and really see no or very little reason to hang around on the short side at this point. So, yeah, I don't see them immediately turning around here and start covering shorts. But, boy, we're within a 30, 45-day window of that happening. So.
Okay. So at 4:05 in D's corn, and just a few days ahead of the August supply and demand update.
Sure.
What is factored into the corn market right now?
I think the numbers that were tossed around earlier, what was the government on the way? They were 181 last month. So sure, I think 181, 182 is pretty well factored in at this point. Realistically, any economic model, as you continue to increase these supplies and increase the just the total decrease the price, every economic model is going to boost usage some. Now, does that result in even at 182, does that result in a huge increase in the ending stocks? Percentage-wise, no. And again, I think there's where you start dealing with percentages right now. Let's say I believe we're within 5% of a low. Well, you reverse that. If you were within 5% of a high, would you be happy to sell it? Yeah, of course you would. So if you're, just conversely, if you're within 5% of a low, why do you want to be bearish anymore?
Okay. You're making an awesome point right there, because you cannot get more bearish as the market goes lower. Well, we've seen the D's contract spike that support at $4. If a $3 handle for a short period of time, maybe that satisfies the sellers in new crop corn. I don't know. It sure might.
Be all right. We've been in longer lines than this.
Again, I think they're back to the point they have to look at it on risk reward perspective as well. I mean, is there really much of an advantage to continue to stay short at this point in time? And I say each day we push lower. No, that diminishes every time. So.
Right. So
you're doing what?
USDA from June to July in the WASDE reports added 150 million bushels of corn demand.
That back there in the trash.
Like you said, the
expectations
are that if you increase the supply, you're probably going to find some place to increase demand.
Sure.
That 150 was on the old crop, but it's holding steady into the new crop year as well. Can we build on that new crop demand in the year ahead?
I think granted, the most obvious place where you might be able to do that will be the export scene. A few minor things happening. I should call them minor, but I mean, there are little adjustments that are happening in the world scene. Number one, Ukraine this week is talking about a 6 million metric ton reduction in their crop. And there's really our main competitor when it comes to the world markets at this point in time. And you kind of hate to always fall back on China, but here again, China, has certainly been having some readjustments domestically, particularly in their hog numbers. Well, that's been factored in there right now. I think they recognize bargains. They probably more so than anybody else out there. So I think we probably could see China back as a little more substantial buyer than maybe anticipated at this point in time. Are we talking anything more than 50, 100 million increase?